In this tutorial, we're going to walk through a couple of different ways to make flat illustration monsters. I have two here that I'm going to kind of walk you through step by step, and along the way you can totally make different choices. You can use the techniques that I'm showing you, make something completely different. It's 100% up to you. You can make the exact same thing as I am as well. You can still get a 4 on it. So usually when I first start off, a couple things I'm thinking about is like basically what am I going to make. A lot of times I'll pull out different references just to kind of get my ideas, my brain moving a little bit. I'll pull from a little bit from here and there just to kind of jumpstart things if I don't have a really solid idea to start with. So this is a bunch of different things that I looked up. I'll throw these on the class website as well, and you'll be able to see like, oh, I pulled some stuff from here, I pulled some stuff from there. Yeah. So let's start with this little guy that we have up here. One of the first things I'm going to do, if you haven't done this yet, is I'm going to go up to preferences, and I'm going to go into general. Personally, this is me. I like to have my scale corners checked as well as my scale stroke and effects checked. I like to turn off zoom to select. Otherwise, sometimes when you zoom in, it just kind of hops all over the place. And then also I like to go to units and have my general units as inches. Okay. A couple of little preset things that I like to have set up is that I go up to the top right and I switch workstations. These are all different ways that Adobe Illustrator can be set up. I personally like Essentials Classics. That might just be because that's what I've been using forever. And if for some reason, like if something happens, you can always just hit Reset Classics. Like if something disappears, you can't find something. That's a really easy way to make that happen. Okay, so we have that set up. For some of you, for some reason, this little control panel has been disappearing. If that is the case, even after you do Reset Essentials Classic, you can always go to Window and click on the controls, and that'll pop this right back up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start over here with a rectangle. For some reason yours doesn't pop up. Click and hold. You're always going to see more tools. Like I said, click, hold. Anytime you see a triangle next to a tool, that means there's more tools hiding underneath. Alright, so I'm going to make this bottom shape first. I'm just going to make a rectangle. I'm now going to go to click on the corners. I can click this corner. If I hold down shift, it'll let me select a second one. I can see there's two little circles here. I'm going to click and drag. I can get that kind of shape that I'm looking for. I actually did it upside down, which is no big deal. I'm going to rotate it around. Oop. I actually like it to be a little bit thinner, so I'm going to pull this side down a little bit and maybe select both of these by clicking and dragging. There we go. I think I'm a little closer there. I think I like that. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is make this lip shape. I'm actually going to go to a line instead of making that. So I'm going to click and drag to go straight across. And you'll see why I do this in a second. So let's pick it to that kind of pinkish color. I'm going to go here. I'm going to thicken it up a bit until I'm happy with it. That's pretty good here. But you notice one of the things that's different is that has a round and mine is actually flat on the ends. So I'm going to align these as well. So I'm going to go up to my panel here, center. Cool. Because it's a stroke, what I can do is I can go over to my stroke, and these little 3 lines will open it up so I can see a few more things. And actually I want a round end instead of the flat end. So there, I'm actually, now that I see this, I'm actually going to make it a little bit shorter. Selecting both again, center. Okay, but one of the reasons why I wanted to do it this way is because I want to give them like a little bit of a smile. Not crazy, but just a little bit. So what I can do, one of the cool new tools, is I can go to the curvature tool. I can go to the center of that line and just pull it down. right? So now it almost looks like he has a little bit of a smile. All right. Now that I have that shape, I can actually go to my object, expand, and so instead of having it be a stroke, I can actually hit turn that stroke, fill that stroke, expand it basically, and hit OK. Now that's actually a shape. So my next one, I'm going to create the top half of that face. So basically I'm just going to take this one, flip it over, shrink it a little bit to make it look like it's almost like an underbite. I'm there. Let's go a little bit wider. This one a little bit wider. Well, once again, I'm going to center them. Cool. So I have that shape. Now I'm going to make these shapes here. So instead of a straight line this time, I'm actually going to do an arc tool. I found that arc tool by clicking, holding, arc tool. So if I hold down shift, it'll stay a perfect shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a really thick stroke of like 80. That might be a little too thick in this situation. So let's go 20, not thick enough. 60, I'm pretty happy with that. And you'll see why I'm not too stressed out for it to begin with. Let's say I actually want it to be the same color as this. Let's wait for a second. I'm going to leave it pink for a second actually, because I haven't saved that color. Actually, I'll show you how to save it. So here, right now, here's my color that I'm using. It's actually right there as well. But if I have that color and I actually want to add it to my swatches, I can actually just click and drag. So now it's there. If you want to get rid of a color in there, I can just drag it to the garbage and I'm good to go. All right, so what I can do now that I have this color up here, I can see that my stroke is pink and it's on top. Because it's on top, if I click that, it'll change it to that same color. So you notice on my eyes here, they're actually, it's a little bit wider at the base and narrow at the end. So one of the cool things we can do is we can actually go in and adjust the width. So I'm going to click on the width tool, go down here, and I can expand it. So I can make it bigger. I can make this one smaller. Get that kind of effect. I can pull it as many different ways as I want. I'm going to go back to how it was. I can do by hitting Control Z. So I'm going to put that here. Yep, that's cool. I like it. So I'm going to go right click, transform, transform, reflect. Instead of hitting OK, I'm actually going to hit copy, and it'll show me what it's looking like there. If I want it to be horizontal, vertical, if I want to do a specific angle, I can do that. But I'm cool there. Copy and drag it over. All right. So I'm going to group these so that way it's easier to center them. So I have it grouped. Now I can center. Cool, they're good to go. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before by going up to Object, Expand Appearances. There you go. So now they're that shape. So I'm doing pretty good so far. What about these teeth looking thing? So with my teeth, there's a couple different ways I can do it. One would be going to a star tool. And if I just click instead of if I drag, I'm going to create a star. If I just click once, it'll actually ask me some questions. So I actually want my points to be 3 because I'm making a triangle. Hit OK, and now I have that shape. Just like I rounded off my edges earlier on this, I'm going to do the same thing on here. Because I kind of like a round look to it. You notice it rounded everything off. I don't want everything. I just want this one. Cool. I'm pretty cool there. You notice on mine too, I actually have 2 different colors, a white and a gray. I feel like it kind of gives it almost like a shadow look to it. And so I'm going to do that same thing. So I'm going to go to my tooth, my colors here. Let's see. Oh, I don't have all my colors in here anymore. I don't know why I said that. It's right here. So here's my white that I picked. So you notice it didn't change. And one of the reasons why, because I just realized, is because right now I'm still on my stroke. I don't want a stroke on this. So I'm going to take that and hit no stroke. So on this one, so I switch to the fill color. I'm going to do white. It's actually more of an off-white. And then what I'm going to do, because I want, like I said, the bottom part of this to be a different color, I'm going to make a rectangle, select them both, and now I'm actually going to go to this tool, which is called the Shape Builder tool. The Shape Builder tool is super cool. So if I draw over all of them, it's going to turn it into one shape. If I said just there, that's a shape. Maybe just this part, now that's a shape. But what I actually want to do in this situation, I want to get rid of this. And so I'm holding down Alt and click on that. So now I have two separate shapes here. I'm going to turn this bottom shape darker, and I'm good to go. Take these, shrink it down. I'm actually going to group it by hitting Command G. Oop. I'm going to bring it over here. But you notice it's on top of the lip rather than behind it. So what I'm going to do, I can click on it, look at my layers, and I can see, oh, look at that. So that is, oh, here's my layers. Okay. So I can see that my tooth is above my lip. So I can just drag it under my lip, and it's just right there. Another way I can do it is if I hit on my Mac, I'm going to hit Command brackets. Okay, like I said, otherwise I can just drag it down as well. I believe, yep. I'm going to make a copy by hitting Option, drag it over. Like I said, I'm also using a Mac, so yours are going to be a little bit different. So you might have to hit a different command or control, so you might have to experiment a little bit, or just look at the cheat sheet that you've been given as well. Alright, so now I got my teeth in there. And you know what? I think I actually like this color better. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my stuff that's blue. I'm going to hit I for eyedropper. And I'm just going to click on that. And now I have it. Okay, so you can see we're getting pretty close already. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. Alright, so now let's make these eyes. Pretty easy, these eyes. So we're going to go to the ellipse tool. I'm going to shift to create the exact same shape, or a perfect circle. Now I'm just going to make a copy. And this one I'm going to go a little bit smaller. And I'm using the same color as the white of that tooth. So I go here to make sure I have the exact same color. I'm going to layer it up. Right, I make it a little bit smaller to create a little bit of depth. All right, we can go bigger, we can go smaller, doesn't matter. All right, so now I'm going to do this red part. So what I'm actually going to do is go to a rectangle tool or a square tool, make a square, pick the color I want. This time, using my direct select tool, I'm going to select opposite corners and hold down shift so I can select them both. And I'm actually going to click on that circle and drag it. And what I'm left with is that, which is what I'm looking for. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Once again, I'm holding shift so it stays the same proportions. Rotate. And if I hold down shift, it'll rotate at 45s. Pop that guy in there. A little bigger. Okay, you can see we're getting pretty close. And then I just need the reflection. Hold down Alt or Option, drag, make it shrink it. Pop it in there, but I actually want it to go on top. So I'm going to hit Command Shift bracket, right bracket. There you go. I'm going to group it. So that way it all stays together. So Command G or Alt G. There you go. I'm going to make a copy. So I'm actually going to click on it, right click, transform, reflect. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I hit OK instead of copy. Jeez, sorry. Or what I can do is I can just hit Alt, drag it over, rotate it around, because they're both pretty similar. Oh, actually, I like it that way better. Let's see this. Here we go. All right. So you notice a couple things here, that this guy is round, where mine's actually really flat right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to, before I make big changes or really commit to things, sometimes I like to just save a copy of it. So basically I just hit Alt/Option, drag it up here, and I just kind of save it up there. So that way, if something gets screwed up, I can always come back and fix it. All right, so now I'm going to take these two tentacle looking things, my top of my mouth, and I'm going to go back to my shape builder tool and drag them. Boom. So now it's all one shape. You notice though that all of a sudden it's on top of the lip now, which is not what we want. So Command bracket to go above. Oh, actually we can send this all the way back. There we go. So we can see our teeth again. So I'm going to do my direct select, which is the white. I'm going to click on those corners that I want rounded out. Pull on the circles. Boom. Click on the ones I want rounded out. And I'm clicking on the two that are the same, right? So that way they actually rotate the same or expand the same. I can make them as big or as small as I want. So I'm pretty cool with that. Okay. So now we are going to work on the body. So the body's pretty simple. So I'm going to essentially just make a rectangle. Even a square is probably fine. Like, that's pretty good. And I'm actually going to make it a little bit small, a little bit darker. So that way it doesn't just look like one space, right? So you can see as I make it darker, you get a little more depth there. All right. Expand. Here we go here. I'm pretty cool with that. That works pretty well. So we should shrink this down a little bit. And actually, I want this rounded look to it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my rectangle, go to my curvature tool, pull it down a little bit. This kind of gives them like a little bit of a belly look, which I kind of like. All right. I also like this, I don't know, belly kind of look to it as well. So I'm going to go Ellipse tool and eye to get that pink. Just kind of pull over the top. I'm thinking to make it just the same width basically as this. So I'm going to shrink it down. Bring it across. And you notice it just kind of pops into place, which is cool. Alright, so now I'm going to take both of these shapes. And then the thing we keep going back to, the shape builder tool. Right? I don't want this lower part, so I'm going to hit Alt. Boom. I'm going to bring this back. And so, man, you know what? To get those, what I could do instead of, ooh, nope, I lied. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go to our arc tool, just like we did before. Click, drag, right? And then we're going to make our stroke that darker, nope, the medium purple. I'm just going to drag that up so it's that right color. Let's go, I think we did like 60 before. That's pretty big. 40. That works. And remember, I'm going to go to my stroke, round it off. Cool. And then this is where, once again, I'm going to play with my stroke width. So go here, drag this up and down. I want it a little bit smaller. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bigger. Might make this whole thing a little bigger. Cool. So I'm kind of playing with where it is. One of the things you notice, it doesn't line up perfectly. And so what I end up doing with this one is I'm going to go to Object, Expand Appearance. Cool. So I have it. I'm actually just going to use an eraser for this to make a clean cut. So I could just go like that, but that doesn't work out super well. So what if I hit Alt/Option, I can go over the top of it and it'll give me a super clean cut, right like that. So now I know for sure I can get this to line up. And I'm going to put this back. And I actually like that better. So instead of starting over, what I can do is basically just take that shape again. So I'm going to go here, zoom in super close, line it up how I want. Cool. And I'm going to make this one narrow so it actually fits just right inside there. Let's make a copy of this too. Transform, transform, reflect, copy, all the way to the edge. Cool. Bring this over. All right. So now once again, I'm going to select my rectangle, hold on Shift, select that pink, and I'm just going to do what I did before. So the shape builder tool, minus, so that way I have that space again. Because I just like the layout of that a little bit better. Cool, so for this back side of this body, what we're going to do, so I can actually just take this whole shape that I've already made, drag it over. I'm going to bring the top up, make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to round off this corner. That's where it looks pretty good. Bring this over roughly to where I want it. And just bring these legs over. Oop. Oop, that's why that looks weird. This is the leg I need. Alright, but now they kind of just blend all into each other, right? So I'm going to actually make these a little darker. Send them to the back. I'm just going to take this same leg, flip it over, make it a little smaller, throw it back here. You can see we're getting there. Alright, a couple little things. I'm going to make these little dots. I like to do things in threes. 3 is a good number. Take these, eyedropper, color, boom. Move around so you're happy. Okay, what else? This guy, this little So with this, I'm actually just going to make a straight line, go across, and then let's do that same dark purple. Remember to select on the one you want. Dark purple, throw it in there. Let's zoom in. I'm going to use my width tool. Fancy, thicken that up. Curvature tool. Go the middle-ish, pull it down. You can go a little bit more extreme than the lip too, just to give it a little more lip. And then let's see, what else? Oh, little nostril holes. Flip it so that way those are there. All right. It's kind of funny. It looks like a rabbit when you're that close and like that. If you wanted to, you could take these same teeth, flip them, make a second set that's smaller, that's on the inside. Or you just have one. How's that look? Nope, that looks stupid. I don't like that. But, alright, so there we go. So we have that first guy. Yeah, that was definitely more than 15 minutes, but yeah, looks pretty good. Pretty dang close to the same. Like I said, we used a bunch of different tools to make this happen, right? So we used shapes, we used our width tool, and our shape builder tool. Those are the three, and then also our curvature tool. And then playing around with, making sure where all the different layers and that kind of stuff are too. Once again, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as this. This is just a way to show you a bunch of different tools. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through how to make the other guy.